Hey there everyone. I literally just posted a video out about the new fire skill runes which are coming, and I completely forgot that I missed the last skill runes, the water ones. There's one that came to each class, and I didn't mention them at all in the video. So I'm not going to be showcasing them in this video. I'm just going to be talking about them like I did for the fire skill runes. And when the fire skill runes come out, I'm going to do a video where I showcase all of them. Actually, properly showing them in action, and I'll talk about them probably less in that video. Yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to do first was a little announcement, which is next PvP season I will probably be going for a top spot. I'm planning to, well, I'll make the decision on the first day, but yeah, I've got a lot of gems and I'm happy to buy some more, and I just really want to go for it properly in PvP because I love it, and I want to get more superior quality elite jewels. So yeah, wish me luck, and please do not go for it yourself. If you know anyone who is going for it, let them know that I'm going to be trying, because yeah, I don't want competition. I'm very stingy with my gems, and I don't want to end up battling with anyone too much. But yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna beg. So moving into the water skill rune for the wizard class is empowered frozen sphere. Now there are a few things to note about this. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on it because there are a few things different to Fire Blast. So first of all, there's the damage to have a look at. There's also the area of effect, because with Arcane Ball that's a big thing. It's a very important part of it, and it's very different across the different skill runes. And the last thing is the slow. So the damage output I'm going to look at first, which is pretty much the same on the two of them. So you've got 150% plus 16,400 on the Fire Blast, or you've got 105% plus 28,000, or 29,000 on Frozen Sphere. Now, there's more static damage and less percent on Frozen Sphere, but overall the two of them are almost exactly the same. So if you have the same fire and water stat, you're going to be getting the same damage with these two skill runes. So yeah, what that means is that empowered Frozen Sphere is actually got really, really good damage on it. It's going to be brilliant for taking down fire enemies, and yeah, it's likely that you have more fire damage than water. That may just be because of my group of friends that are like that, but if you do have more fire than water, Fire Blast will be your more sort of consistent damage output. It certainly is for me. However, Frozen Sphere, because you've got that Master of Ice, which you can add 200% on, that is going to be hitting a lot harder. So yeah, for me, I'm going to be using Fire Blast in PvP probably for a long time, but because that's my kind of consistent damage output. But then Empowered Frozen Sphere could be used as like a really hard hitter, and then some sort of weaker hits as well. So yeah, it's very interesting in terms of damage, and will be seriously good for PvE. I mean, we've got Fire Blast and Flame Cannon as the two really powerful fire skills, and then now we've got Greater Water Mana Bolts and Empowered Frozen Sphere as our water versions, and using that with Master of Ice is brilliant. So a lot of PvE strength here. As for the area of effect, that is quite disappointing. If we go down to the bottom left here, so Frozen Sphere was actually the first skill rune to be added onto the Arcane Ball, and it increased the base skills area a little bit. But if you look here, I'm hitting the middle target, and it's destroying both the chicken and the target to the left. So I'll just show that once again. It's going that far. Now, if we go to Empowered Frozen Sphere, this is going to be hitting a smaller area. It's very clear because that doesn't die. But if you look at the ring here, it's definitely a lot smaller than Empowered Fire Blast. Which is a shame, and it does make a big difference for PvE. However, certainly because enemies are elemental now, the damage difference is going to be so big when you're facing fire or non-fire enemies, that really Empowered Frozen Sphere is going to be amazing against those fire enemies. You're not going to consider using Fire Blast. So yeah, the area of effect is a bit annoying for PvE. Certainly makes this less desirable for sort of general use. But for PvP, I don't think it'll have too much difference, because in most cases you're fighting one person, or if you are fighting multiple, one of them's probably a knight, and so they'll be stood right next to the enemy, and Empowered Frozen Sphere is going to hit them both. So yeah, that's one definite downer on it. However, the slow effect is what really makes this unique. So the slow effect, not only is it longer, it's 3 seconds on a 2-second duration cooldown, skill, which is insane. That slow effect is actually stronger than it is on Fire Blast. I use Fire Blast a lot in PvP to slow down knights when they come and try and attack me. I talked about that in other videos and shown it. And yeah, I'll just sort of fire off one, move a bit, fire off another, and it keeps them at bay when they've got something like Angelic Form on. Empowered Frozen Sphere, you not only have to do that less, fire it off less, but it's got a stronger slow. So I'm going to show it properly. That's why I'm going to do a preview of these skill runes. But yeah, if you think of Fire Blast as like a 25% or 33% slow, Empowered Frozen Sphere is more like a 50% or 66%. It's like noticeably a lot better at that. So that gives it brilliant PvP use, and ultimately I would prefer to use Empowered Frozen Sphere in PvP. It's one I want to get up in the long run. But yeah, I'm just going to focus on the fire ones for now. But yeah, that's definitely a good skill rune. So moving on to the other two. The other two are slightly less amazing, especially this one. So yeah, I'm going to try to explain this a little bit. Shattering Shot was probably one of my least favorite skill runes ever to come. It's just terrible. So this skill normally, when you attack an enemy, it will do a little air effect around the enemy which you attack, and it will hit them all with a similar force. That's the same with Stone Arrow. So the base skill, I think it's about 140%, 160% damage, and then Stone Arrow puts on a lot. I mean, that's 165% plus 18,000. That's a ton of damage extra. So yeah, it's a really good damaging skill rune, and does a lot for the skill. However, Empowered Shattering Shot, what it does is it turns into a single target. So that damage that it says at the top, the 80% plus 22,000. Not only is that a lot less than the Stone Arrow, but that will only go on the target you attack. Then 8 ice balls fly out. They won't necessarily hit enemies around it. I don't really think you can hit multiple on any enemies because they spread out really quickly. So yeah, there's a chance basically of hitting enemies around your target for 22,000 frost damage, which isn't even that much. So yeah, it's really bad. And maybe that's how it looked on before release when I had a look at it and I gave them loads of feedback on it and stuff. I haven't seen if it actually if it works differently now. Maybe it has an error effect on it. Yeah, that we'll see in the preview when I do a proper preview of it. Showcase, I mean. But yeah, that skill rune doesn't look any good. I'm sorry to say. I was really disappointed because I really do want archers to get some fun and interesting skill runes. But yeah, moving on. So Knights got it for Empowered Water Cleave. Now, like I was saying in my last video, comparing the new Fire Burst skill rune against Expel, this is very similar because Wild Swing hits twice as opposed to all the other skill runes which just hit once. So it's actually even more significant here because the Cleave, Cleave, the base skill, it has 185% as the damage output on that base skill. So with Wild Swing, it's doing 370% on the base damage, which is amazing. And then you've got that pretty much 180% nature plus 22,000 nature. It's a huge damage buff, and one of the best skill runes for the class, definitely. So because we're comparing to this, it's going to seem a lot worse than it maybe is. One thing to note about Wild Swing quickly is that the second hit doesn't always actually connect with the enemy because there's a slight knockback from the attack. Unless you get right next to the enemy, sometimes the second hit won't actually get them. So yeah, considering that, it's not quite so good. But anyway, Empowered Water Cleave. The damage on this, we've got 150% water, 16,000 plus 16,400. That, if you compare to double what's on Wild Swing, is less in both cases. It's definitely less damage. If you consider it with Lord of Winter, which is going to triple the damage output, and taking into account all other elemental bonuses as well. What it pretty much works out as is the two of them hit similar damage when you have Lord of Winter active, which is really quite bad. I thought they got the balance right on the Wizards' new water scoring. I mean, with that, the two of them hit. No, I think they got the balance slightly wrong on that. I think they made the new scoring slightly too powerful for the balance of things. But yeah, for this, they really could have put a lot more water damage on it. So then, when you used it with Lord of Winter, it actually got powerful. Actually, what I wanted them to do was make it double hitting, like Wild Swing. Because if you put a lot of water on, then it suddenly makes it amazingly good with Lord of Winter, but then not very good otherwise. But yeah, anyway, basically, the damage output on it is not very good compared to Wild Swing. However, the slow effect, it goes for 3 seconds, which, like the Wizard skill, 3 seconds on the skill, which does a 2-second cooldown, is amazing. And that slow 40%, not too bad. So for PvP, this is quite good at holding an enemy by you, and in some ways that's a lot better than what Wild Swing has, because a 0.5 second stun is not desirable at all. That's almost just activating their stun immunity. 0.5 seconds is just hardly any time. What you really want is to hit them with something like Rumble, where you've got a 2.5 second stun. That is enough to kill someone. You stun them with that and then kill them with other skills. So yeah, it gets rid of that annoying stun and replaces it with a good slow. So that's really nice. If you're not using Wild Swing for damage output in PvP, then Empowered Water Cleave could be a really nice alternative for that. So that's a small use for it. The other use is against fire enemies, because nature damage deals half damage to fire enemies, or roughly half. So Wild Swing is that's when it's not very good. It's not very good at fighting fire enemies. And of course, Empowered Water Cleave does double the water damage anyway. So yeah, against fire enemies, Empowered Water Cleave is much better. And yeah, that's its real niche, really. That's the main use for it, is for fighting fire enemies. It's just the kind of alternative to Wild Swing when you're facing those fire enemies. So yeah, that's probably what they were trying to do with that skill rune, is try something out for PvP by putting that slow on it, and then make it good for when you're fighting fire enemies. But I think Wild Swing to me is more of a kind of, it's a standard skill that I would be using at all times. So yeah, I'd like to always be able to use Cleave even when I'm facing fire enemies. So yeah, that's all those skill runes. Like I said, I'm probably not going to go through them much when I actually showcase them. I'm just going to show them and talk about what I said I was going to look into. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and that showcase will be coming out whenever the fire skill runes come into the game, which I'm guessing is probably a week or two. But anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.